Hey guys, it's Robin, and I am so pumped because I just finished my very first run of the Y Workshop, which is something that I've been thinking about and planning for a really long time, and I finally launched it. Yay! So the recording of it is processing right now, and I'm going to be sending that out to all of the registrants so they can have that and their workbook afterwards. So I'm like pretty excited about that, and I walked through essentially 6 different ways for people to find their why. And it's kind of misleading when I say find your why, because I'm of the mindset that you create your own why, that you're not supposed to discover this one like aha why. So yeah, it was 6 different strategies. And I was thinking after I wrapped up, which was maybe like 10 minutes ago, so it's almost New Year's. 2018 is literally almost upon us. And a lot of times we make really lame resolutions. Like if you ask people what their resolutions are, we're like, oh, that's great, good for you. Those are really great resolutions. And I was thinking yesterday, I was just kind of jotting down some notes because this was kind of coming to me. When people say your resolutions are like, oh, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, or I'm going to start walking the dog twice a day, I'm going to quit smoking, like those aren't goals. That's just a to-do list with no like strategy around it. Like those are as much goals as are like if you hand me a loaf of bread and a tomato and be like, I made a sandwich. Like that's as much of a sandwich as those are goals. Like that's not a goal. And what we end up doing is we create these resolutions that are just like a to-do list that nobody really wants to do, or that seem like kind of like a pain to do or a lot of work to do, which is why, you know, gym memberships go through the roof for the end of the year and the beginning of January, and then nobody's in the gym by like March, because all of those resolutions, that resolve has fallen off because you don't have anything driving it. You know, why are we making these resolutions? Half the time we're making these resolutions just because they sound good, or because you've been saying you're going to do it forever. Like, oh, I'm going to lose 10 pounds this year. You know, why are you going to lose 10 pounds? Just because you've been saying it, that you're going to do it for these past few years. And this is the year we're going to do it. If you don't have any why behind it, if you don't have any reason, any kind of real personal motivation and a strategy to go with it, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. And that's disheartening, and that makes the resolution lame, because you kind of go into it thinking like, I'm not actually going to do it. It's just, you know what? I'm going to say I'm going to do it, and saying it with gusto and announcing it around December 31st is somehow going to keep me, you know, eating well and going to the gym and doing all the things to actually reach and follow through with that resolution. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. That's not how people work. That's not how motivation works. So I was just thinking that maybe I should just jump on here real quick, because it's December 13th, which is insane. It's December 13th. We only have so many, 2 weeks left of this year before we start throwing around resolutions without strategy behind it, without actual motivation behind it. And so we're essentially accidentally setting ourselves up for failure, because we're not putting ourselves in a really great position to actually achieve something, period, and achieve something that matters to us. Like, why do you want these resolutions? That's the question we should be asking. That's the question that should be writing those resolutions. We start with the why, we start with the purpose. What do you want to feel? What do you want to achieve? What is your purpose? You know, what's your purpose in life? If you don't know that, maybe that should be a resolution. My resolution this year is to find and create my purpose. That's an awesome resolution. I'm going to walk the dog more. Like, that's great for the dog, but if you end up not doing it, you've let your dog and yourself down. That's really lame. So when we start with the core, when we start with the motivation, we start with the reason and the drive behind it, that's when you set really great resolutions, because they matter to you. They're connected to your purpose and your why in some way, and you're way more likely to achieve them. So it just makes a lot of sense. If you want help with your resolutions, talk to me. This is like what I do and what I clearly get overly excited about. But Yeah, I just want you I would advise you to take a look at your resolutions if you're starting to look at them now. Obviously, you have a couple weeks left. And if you're like me, like I used to set resolutions that didn't matter, and I used to have a terrible memory. So I'd forget my resolutions anyway. And because I wasn't motivated and connected to them emotionally, they didn't mean anything. They just sounded great. And I had answers to the questions of, oh, what are your resolutions this year? I could rattle off a list of things that I never intended on doing in the first place. So I know there's a lot of folks out there who do the same thing, who think the same way. And you can change that this year. You have 2 weeks to think about, okay, what's driving my motivations? What do I want 2018 to challenge me with? What do I want to bring into that year that actually means something to me? Not just like, I'm going to be all this amazing, I'm going to do all this amazing stuff and be this amazing person. Like, okay, but why does it actually mean something to you? Are you, rattling off bravado resolutions because recognition is important to you, because being appreciated for your efforts is important to you? Like, let's dig deeper into that, because you're going to increase your likelihood of actually reaching those resolutions and sticking to them, and having fun and feeling fulfilled in the pursuit of them as well as achieving them. So something I just want to throw out there is to really, instead of starting with a to-do list of this is my checklist of resolutions that I'm going to do this year. I'm going to quit smoking, I'm going to walk the dog, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, I'm going to blah, blah, blah. You're starting with the how. Start with the why. Start with, why do you want those in the first place? Why am I making decisions the way I do? A lot of people don't have, if you're a business owner, you probably have thought about having a why for your business, but you might not have thought about having a why for your life. And we're making way more life decisions on a day-to-day basis that are shaping the big picture than we are business decisions. And if you don't own a business, then this is even more relevant to you, because we need some kind of, in order to get that fulfillment, in order to feel that sense of purpose, we got to articulate the why. We can go through life without a why. Most of us do, and it's fine. You're not going to die without a why. You're going to die without a purpose. It might eventually become very painful, because if that's, something that is coming up for you a lot, which was me a few years ago, feeling like I didn't have a purpose, feeling like I was supposed to but couldn't put my finger on it, it became like torturous to go through life knowing that what I was doing was not my purpose, but I didn't know what was. Maybe this is the opportunity for you to jump on that clean start bandwagon. January 1 is like, everybody's like, I'm going to change myself, and I'm going to change the world in my life and be awesome. You can jump on that bandwagon because it's in 2 weeks. And why not, right? But now is a chance for you to think about, okay, what do I want driving my decisions? What do I want as the motivator behind why I do anything? Why I choose the people I spend time with, why I choose the partner that I have, why I choose the way I spend my money, why do I choose the way I spend my time, the jobs that I take, whether I set good boundaries or not, all of these different things. Now is your opportunity, not just to be like, okay, I'm going to choose better relationships, I'm going to set boundaries. You're putting the cart before the horse, as my mom would say. You're putting the how before the why. So here's your opportunity to take a moment, take these 2 weeks before you set your resolutions, and think about, okay, what do I want as the motivator for all of these to-do list items? What do I want as a motivator for my resolutions? So what do I want to hold as my core, as something that means something to me and something that represents me, and get clear around that. Do the work to articulate what that is and what you stand for, and it's essentially what your purpose is. But a lot of times that can be a little bit too scary to be like, oh my God, I'm supposed to figure out my life purpose in the next 2 weeks. Like, too much pressure, not necessary. Think about, what do you want your why for your resolutions for right now? Small chunks. It's a start. Yes, it's on the path to designing your life purpose, this bigger picture thing. But for right now, The holidays are crazy. Everybody's busy. People are starting to drive a little bit more chaotically. It's a little bit more just like, ooh, like frantic energy in the air these days. So you don't have to put this pressure on yourself being like, oh my God, Robin's telling me I have to figure out my life purpose now. Like, oh, I can't take this pressure. You don't have to. All I would advise you to do, if life purpose is something that interests you and is something that you would like to get around to, start with a bite-sized chunk. Start with a little bite-sized task of thinking about, okay, what do I want to be the driving force behind my resolutions? Not what do I want my resolutions to be? What do I want the force behind them to be? Start with that little kernel and then let your heart, let your brain flow from there, okay? Because that starts to get your brain thinking in the way of, okay, what do I want the core to be? Let's start with the foundation, whatever kind of metaphor you need. I like to use the metaphor of like a bicycle wheel where your purpose or your why is that center of the bicycle, and the spokes leading out to the tire on the outside, those are the avenues through which you express your why. When we build a bicycle tire, actually, I'm not even going to go with that metaphor because I don't know how you build a bicycle tire, but the idea is that you have this center and that drives everything. The spokes are simply how you express that center. So the spokes in this case would be the resolutions. The core would be your why, would be your purpose that's driving the spokes, okay? And there's many, many ways that you can express your purpose, but I want to advise you away from setting resolutions before understanding the why behind the resolutions. Flip it around, because a lot of times we're used to making lists. We just throw together like, oh, I'm gonna go on hikes every weekend, and I'm gonna make time to see my girlfriends more often, and blah, blah, blah. You're just making a to-do list. You're making your life more frantic and more busy and more full of pressure, more pressured than you have to. You're making life harder than you have to at that point because you're putting the how before the why. So when you start with the why, understand, okay, what's important to me? I like spending time with people that matter to me because it makes me feel connected. That understanding of connectedness, that's the why. So how can I feel more connected? How can I connect to more people? Oh, maybe I can see my girlfriends more often. Maybe I can set dinner dates with people that I haven't seen in a long time. Or maybe I can set FaceTime dates like I do with my sister. My sister and I will jump on FaceTime for like an hour or so every week when our schedules allow. And it's because my relationship and my connection to family is important to me. That's the why. Not because I need more phone calls in my life. That's too much pressure. That's schedule cramming. It's not the way to do it. But if you say things like compassion is really important to me, then okay, how can I be more compassionate this year? And let that drive how you shape your resolutions. So, anyone could be like, oh, I like dolphins. I want to save dolphins this year. It's like, no. Like, what are you going to do? Move to the ocean and live on a boat and play with dolphins all day? No. The idea of driving this love of dolphins, what is that? Dig deeper. Why is that important to you? The questions of why is this important to you? What does it mean to you? Those are going to help you figure out what that purpose is, what the purpose you can hold on to and drive the design of your resolutions through. So, as if you didn't have enough things to do, at least this is super fulfilling, and this is for you. This isn't, to make everybody else happy and make them feel welcome at the dinner table or whatnot. This is totally for you. Trust me, it's worthwhile. It's a little step in the direction of this big scary picture called what is your life purpose? And it doesn't have to be super overwhelming. It's simply, okay, where do I want my resolutions to come from this year? And you have plenty of time to do it. And if you start, maybe even write that question down. Where do I want my resolutions to come from this year? It will be a visual reminder to you to trigger your brain and heart to be thinking in that direction. So that you're like, I've really felt disconnected from people this year. I've really felt like I was so busy and I wasn't able to really catch up with people and enhance the relationships of my life. So I really want more connection in the coming year. That can be your core. And that connection and that articulation that you want more connection, that can be the kernel from which you design those resolutions. That makes sense. So instead of like, okay, here's the list of actions and the list of strategies, don't start from that. Don't start from the actions. That's the how. How comes after the why and the core. Core, it's called the core for a purpose. It's the center, right? It's the starting point from which the life of your resolutions will take shape, right? So what do I want my resolutions to be driven from this year? Some form of that statement. So I hope that helps you. And I have not done my resolutions yet. I've set business goals, but that's different. Actually, I'll share that with you. I don't want to share necessarily my goals yet, because I will at some point. But for today, what's driving my business goals and kind of like resolutions for 2018 is that I want to reach more people, because the mission of my business as an extension of my personal life purpose, my life purpose that I've chosen for now, is to raise the level of empathy in this world. I've been making personal and professional decisions based on that, and my professional mission based on that goal of raising the level of empathy in this world. Professionally is to activate as many women into living purposeful and impactful lives as I can. So being an impact coach, that's on purpose, because I want to help women, and I have a few male clients too. I want to help women find purpose in their lives, and from that purpose, spread impact. It's like a ripple effect. Once you have that purpose, you start creating impact from this core of your purpose. So that's how I built my business. That's how I shaped my business. Personally, I have to do some thinking around, okay, my purpose that I've taken on personally is to raise the level of empathy in this world. How do I want my resolutions to reflect that? Because I'm keeping that as my core, and my resolutions are not going to be some lame to-do list that anybody could come up with and that's going to look the same as everybody else's to-do list and resolution list. They're going to be reflective of and driven by my personal mission, my personal purpose that I've taken on. So once I do the work over the next 2 weeks and figure that out and articulate that into a practical, active way, then I will let you know. So I'm here for you in the meantime. If you want help with your resolutions and finding what that core is and where you want your resolutions to come from, let me know. You just hit me up on Facebook or email or whatnot. Because I think the more people I can help live purposeful, impactful lives, the more fulfillment I get, and I think the better off the world is when people are living intentionally and purposefully, and creating impact from a place of purpose, intentional purpose. So if there's anything I can do to help you be one of those people, this is my life. So come and be part of it. All right, guys, let's see. We're at 18 and a half minutes. I can't believe it. I go on and on and on. So thanks for those of you who are tuning in, and share this with someone who might have some trouble with their resolutions or have some trouble with their why and their purpose. Hopefully this can be helpful to them, and I will talk to you soon.